Welcome back to another episode of the Moreno Show. Hope you guys are feeling good today. When I saw this clip, I knew immediately that I had to bring it to you guys. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts is out here crashing and burning for New York City, making the case that taxing New York's wealthiest is the solution. But not everyone in this clip is buying it, because she does expose herself to some ruthless takedowns and backlash, because her and Zohran Mamdani's plan could potentially blow up in their faces. So what follows isn't just a shouting match between the left versus the right, but a deeper debate on whether taxing the rich actually solves the affordability crisis, or if it just creates a new set of problems. So without wasting any more time, also, if you like having conversations like this, please consider liking and subscribing. Now, let's dive right in.
You are in New York, sort of speaking in behalf of him to a certain extent. I wonder, though, often we see this, and this is a local election. New York does not operate in a vacuum. It competes with other cities. And so this idea of somehow raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, who, by the way, I would point out, pay roughly 15% of their income right now between city and state, raising taxes on them will simply drive them away. Shouldn't the focus of a mayor be on delivering services to the constituents of the city, and doing that by raising the most revenue as possible without chasing businesses and the high income taxpayers out of the city? Because they can go to Austin, they can go to Dallas, they can go to Atlanta, they can go to Nashville. This is your issue. It's a national issue, not a local issue.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford child care? What Zohran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why is that
goodness.
The answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
But here's the thing.
And Goldman Sachs, when they create new jobs, they do it in Dallas. And Blackstone won't build a new headquarters. And go on and on.
You want to have a workable city. You want to have a city that's vibrant. You want to have a city where the streets are full, where there are things for sale 24 hours a day. Then you need people who can live here and work here.
Well, we've got that right now, by the way. I would point out New York is thriving. So now it's doing pretty well, actually.
I'm glad you think they're doing well, because a lot of people are struggling to pay for housing. A lot of people are struggling to pay for groceries. And I got to tell you, mamas and daddies who are facing $25,000 a year to pay for childcare.
Those are national issues. I mean, I know they are the local state, but you can't.
New York City.
Yes, but if you deal with them in that way, by what is always your backup, just tax them more, they will leave.
No, the backup is make this city and make this country work for everyone. I get that the Republican point of view is make this country and make every city in this country work better and better for a handful of billionaires and let everybody else eat dirt. But what Mamdani won on in a Democratic primary is he said, I'm going to address affordability. And he didn't win by one vote.
No, he won by a lot. It's very much unclear he has the ability to actually do it, by the way, based on the laws and what the governor has to say and what he would actually have to do.
You know, I love that as the fallback position, and that is he's fighting for the right thing, but maybe the billionaires will have
everybody wants a more affordable city. There's no doubt about that. The question is how you go. You build more housing.
Sure, want to pay their part on this.
You build more housing. You do try to make it more affordable, but it is a very difficult thing to do. You know that around the country. This is not an issue that just here in New York. It's everywhere.
But it's not an issue that Eric Adams was fighting for. It's certainly not an issue that Andrew Cuomo was fighting for.
I think the mayor would say they have been trying to focus on building as many new.
Mamdani is the one who said, I will make this a priority. And you know what he said? He said, I'm really going to lean in on childcare. I'm really going to lean in on housing. And I'm even going to try some new things to bring down the cost of groceries.
So it doesn't concern you that
I'm not going to sit around and pretend, it's a federal problem. Let the federal government fix this.
You can say all these things, but again, I think many people would disagree to the extent that by raising taxes and making it more onerous for business, that create the jobs, that create the revenues on which tax revenues come from, that you'd ultimately be dealing with a smaller pie. He may succeed by driving everybody out. Rents will go down.
That the best way to run city government or national government is to start with the billionaires and say what will work best for you. Vote Republican.
I don't think anybody in New York is talking about doing that.
If you don't, then let's make the city more affordable. Let's make the country more affordable. And the way we do that, let's focus on housing. Let's focus on groceries. Let's focus on childcare. Donald Trump
These are your
ran.
issues.
Donald,
These are national
Donald
issues.
Trump
You deal with
ran
that.
for.
That's
Oh,
not.
and New York should just say,
No,
all we want is the
mayor of New
billionaires
York
pay
should
whatever
focus
you
on
want to
delivering
pay.
the most services to the citizens of
He
the
should
city and
focus.
make it a point of
I'm
improving
sorry,
life for
your
them.
fellow New Yorkers have said he should focus on affordability. This is why they have voted for Mondami, and that's why today I will be here to talk about his plans on childcare, why people are talking about his plans. He's going to experiment to try to bring down grocery costs in food deserts. God bless him on that. He's going to try something. When was the last time you saw America? I'm going to try something.
You think
for
somebody
families,
has
and he's
absolutely
gonna
no
bring down-
experience, 33-year-old socialist, is going to succeed as the mayor of New York?
Yes, I
With
do.
no real
I
experience
think he's
whatsoever
going
in
to
city
do a
government?
lot more for working families than someone like Cuomo, who says, how many billions of dollars can we get into my campaign so that I can try to beat this guy back? Look, this is democracy at work. People want to see someone who's on their side, and that is Zohran Mamdani.
You've mentioned housing as an element of the affordability issue a couple of times. It's one of the areas of agreement among almost everybody that we have to find a way to get housing supply up. Practically speaking, how do we have that happen in New York and everywhere?
I'm glad you asked that, because just this week, the United States Senate unanimously passed a housing bill that Chairman Tim Scott and I put together with help from every single member of the committee, both Republicans and Democrats. And the answer is supply. We need more housing supply. And the role of the federal government, basically, has been we'll do the finance end of it somewhat. We do a little bit on public housing, and basically to stay out, while for 40 years, year over year over year, the price of housing keeps going up. This bill is a real sea change because it diagnoses the problem correctly. It says we just don't have enough housing anywhere in America. And that's true, urban, rural. It's true about rental housing. It's true about housing for first-time home buyers. It's true about housing for seniors, housing for people with disabilities, housing for people who have no housing at all. So what this bill does is it moves forward on a lot of different fronts at once. It has a lot of pieces in it to make it less expensive to build, more modular housing, for example, more pre-approved plan book housing, so you don't have to spend time getting plans approved. It also has my innovation fund in it to say, if you're one of those cities that's actually trying to build more housing, federal government will be a good partner to you. We'll help put some money on the table for the new elementary school or for the new sewer connections that you're going to need. But the whole notion is push, push, push toward more supply, which will help bring down prices.
I'll tell you one thing that will bring down prices in New York, but he won't ever do it, which is just deregulating everything. We have a lot of apartments that are under rent stabilization and rent control, but that's a third rail. I mean, I've lived here my whole life, so, you know, I do have a sense for how things work here.
One of the things that Zohran is talking about is how to increase housing supply here in New York City, bring in more new housing. And that is one of the ways that you give young people an opportunity to have their own place. You know, I just do one little stat in this area. Back in the 1980s, 1990s, first-time home buyer was 28 years old. Today, they're 38 years old. And an increasing number of young people are just saying, I will never get a house, a home of any kind, of condo. I will never do that. I met with a bunch of my fire chiefs out in Massachusetts not so long ago, and they were talking about having hired a whole new cohort of young firefighters. They're all basically in their late 20s. And around the table, the chiefs were all saying, and most of them still have to live at home with their mom and dad. They cannot afford to buy housing. That's a problem nationally. And we need to help the cities that want to build more
Without
housing.
a doubt. And lower rates obviously would help as well. Senator, always good to have you here.
always
Thank you.
good to be here.
Appreciate it. Senator
Thank you.
Elizabeth.
So, what do you think about all this? Is raising taxes on the wealthiest of New York the bold move that we need to make the city more affordable? Or is it just going to send the money and all the opportunity packing? This is the question. Elizabeth Warren made her case as best she could, and the critics fired back probably best they could. All great points all around, but I do think that somewhere in between these two, there is a real answer. New York isn't the only place that is facing this fight, but they could be the solution that the rest of the country looks toward, because they could be creating this blueprint. All right, so this truly does matter, even if you're not in New York. If you're any larger city, like, this could actually genuinely impact you. So tell me, if you're in charge, where would you draw the line between keeping the rich in the city and keeping the city livable for everyone else, for working people? Tell me down below in the comments. And if you made it this far, please consider liking and subscribing. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good rest of your day. Episode's over already? Geez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.